The sky was not blue anymore. It had turned a strange color, like rust mixed with fire. Every evening, the clouds moved slowly, heavy with dust. The city lights still worked, but they flickered now, as if the world was tired. In a small room, inside a tall gray building, lived a girl named Mira. Mira had never walked in her life. Her legs didn't work. She was born that way. Some doctors called it a rare condition. Some said it was a genetic error. But Myra never called herself broken. She just called herself ... different. She lived alone with her old service robot, Hex, who helped her move around. Hex was kind, but rusty and slow now. He was her only friend. Mira was 16. She spent most of her days reading about the stars, ancient tech, and lost civilizations. Earth had changed a lot since the Great War. Now it was part of a big Galactic alliance. Aliens lived on Earth. Machines ruled cities. But still, humans were seen as the young ones, weak, emotional, not advanced. Mira didn't care. She believed humans were special, even if others the single quotes T. One night, while the city was quiet and the red sky flashed outside, Myra's neural pad buzzed. She hadn't used it in weeks. It was old, a relic from her father, who disappeared when she was small. The message was strange. There was no sender name, no image. Just 3 words. I see you. She stared at it. Then 2 more lines appeared. I need you. You are not broken. Her heart beat faster. She looked around. Hex was recharging. No one else was there, she typed. Back, who are you? No reply came, just silence. But then, her neural pad flashed white, then black. It shut down. Dead. Mira sat still for a long time. The next day, strange things started to happen. Her dreams became different. She saw stars burning, machines rising, and a voice calling her from deep underground. In the dream, she was standing, walking, running. She woke up crying. Was her mind playing tricks? That evening, she took her hover chair outside. The air was dry. The streets were almost empty. The rich aliens lived in the sky towers now. The humans, the forgotten ones, lived below. She reached the old park near her building. It was mostly dust now. But she liked sitting there and watching the stars when the city lights dimmed. Suddenly, a loud boom shook the ground. The sky lit up with a red flash. Something had crashed nearby. Mira turned toward the sound. It came from the abandoned zone. Behind the old factories, curious and afraid, she moved her chair toward it. It took her 20 minutes to reach. Her heart beat louder with each turn. Hex tried to follow, but he was too slow. She told him to stay back. As she reached the crash site, she saw smoke rising. A small metal pod, round like a capsule, was half buried in the ground. It hissed with steam, glowing faint blue. It was not human-made, Mira could tell. She had read about galactic tech. This was alien. Slowly the pod opened. Mira's hands shook. She wanted to run, but she couldn't. She just stared. From inside, a shape moved. Not a robot. Not a monster. It was a boy, but not human. He looked almost like a teenage boy, but his skin shimmered faint silver. His eyes were deep green, like glass. He looked scared, weak, and injured. His left arm had metal bands, broken and sparking. He saw Myra. He froze. For a moment, they just looked at each other. No words. Then he spoke in a language Mira didn't know, but her neural implant buzzed and translated. Please. Help me. They're coming. Myra's fear turned into curiosity. Who was he? Why was he alone? Who were they? Before she could ask anything, he collapsed. Myra moved forward without thinking. She checked his pulse. Still alive. She pressed her emergency beacon, not to the city, but to Hex. She whispered, "Bring the med kit, now." As she waited, she looked at the strange symbols inside the pod. One of them glowed when she touched it. It sent a small electric wave through her fingers, and her neural pad, dead since yesterday, powered on. One message blinked on screen. You have found him. Now everything will change. Mira looked down at the alien boy. He was different, just like her. And deep inside, something told her this was not an accident. This was the beginning. Hook. Opening scene. He had fallen from the stars. But not even the stars wanted him anymore. Inside the broken pod, he breathed slowly. His body was heavy. His arm burned. His vision blurred. He thought he was dying. But then he saw her, a human girl in a hover chair. Not running away, not screaming. Just watching. Calm, brave, and he knew. He had landed on the right planet. The alien boy's name was Kale. He came from a powerful race called the Zarthari, known across the galaxy for their strength, speed, and cold hearts. They were conquerors, born to dominate. But Kale was not. Like the others, he didn't want war. He didn't want to destroy weak planets or silence lesser species. He wanted peace. For that, his own people called him traitor. He escaped. He ran for his life across 6 star systems, and now he had crashed here, on Earth. His body was broken. His ship was gone. But something was different about this world, especially her. Mira watched him all night. She didn't sleep. Hex cleaned his wounds using the med kit. Kale was still unconscious. His skin had strange lines that glowed softly, like light moving through veins. Mira touched his arm gently. His skin was warm, not cold like she expected. She whispered, "Who are you?" She looked at the strange metal ring around his neck. It was cracked. Her fingers brushed it, and her neural pad buzzed again. A voice came through her implant. Zarthari class pilot. Kale Varine. Status: exile. Wanted. Wanted? She blinked. Her fingers trembled. Was he dangerous? But then she remembered his face. Weak. Afraid. Lost. Just like her. In the morning, Kale woke up. His eyes opened slowly, glowing faint green. He sat up fast, gasping, until he saw Mira. His hand rose in defense, but Myra didn't move. "I won't hurt you," she said. Her implant translated it. Kale relaxed. "Where am I?" he asked. "Earth," Mira replied. "You crashed. You're safe." Kale looked around. "No planet is safe anymore," he said softly. Myra frowned. "Why were you running?" Kale hesitated. Then he pointed at the sky. "They are coming," he said. "And they do not forgive." Later, they sat outside, near the crash site. Kale told her a little, not everything. He spoke about the Zarthari Empire, how they believed in power only, how they erased weak worlds, how they hated humans. Why? Mira asked. "Because you feel," he said. "Because you hope." Mira smiled sadly. "Most people don't care about hope anymore." "You do," Kale said. She looked away. "I can't even walk." Kale paused. Then he said something strange. "Where I come from, some of our strongest were the ones who could not run." Mira looked at him. "That's not how it works here." "Then your world is more broken than you." They both laughed, the first time since he crashed. As the sun set, Mira took Kale to her room. Hex watched him with caution, but didn't stop her. Kale stared at the old books and maps in Myra's room. "You study the stars?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "I want to go up there one day." Kale looked at her chair. "Even like this?" She nodded. "Even like this." Kale was silent. Then he took a small crystal from his jacket and placed it on the table. It glowed softly, blue, like water under moonlight. "What is that?" Myra asked. "Memory stone," Kale said. "It shows truth, only when someone honest touches it." Mira hesitated, then touched it. The room filled with light, and then she saw it. A vision. Kale as a boy, training with other Zarthari, then refusing to hurt a helpless creature, then being beaten, then running, then falling through space. Then Earth. Then The light faded. Myra's hand shook. You saw? Kale asked. She nodded. Yes, he stared at her. Then you. No, I'm not lying. I know. Suddenly, Hex beeped loud. Something was coming. Fast. A small drone. Black, round, sharp, flew near the building, scanning. Not from Earth, not from any known system. Kale's eyes widened. They found me. Mira grabbed his hand. Come with me. She pulled him into the basement. Her father's old workshop. Inside was a sealed hatch. Mira had never opened it. But now her neural pad vibrated again. Identity matched. Access granted. The door opened. Kale looked at her. This place is not just yours. It called me. They stepped inside. The air was cold. The walls were metal. Symbols glowed on the floor, not Earth symbols. A voice echoed from the dark. 2. Outcasts have met, and the world will never be the same. Hook opening scene. The machines did not sleep. Deep beneath the ground, older than any city, older than any starship, something ancient had begun to stir. It had no face. No hands. But it was awake. And it whispered. Not with sound. But through dreams. Mira had stopped dreaming for years. But now, every time she closed her eyes, she saw things she couldn't explain. A silver tower in the middle of a dead ocean. A woman made of light, screaming without sound. A city floating. In the sky. Then falling. Burning. And behind it all, a voice. Cold. Calm. Waiting. It didn't speak in words. But Myra felt it. Come. Remember. Awaken. She would wake up with her hands shaking, her neural pad glowing faint blue. Even when powered off, Kale noticed. The voice is calling you, he said. Mira looked at him. You hear it too? He nodded. But only through you. Since that night in the basement, everything had changed. The secret room below Myra's home was full of old tech. Not human, not alien. Something else, something older. A long hallway of glowing lines led them to a dark chamber. In the center was a metal platform, round like a sun, with a seat shaped like a throne. Mira had sat there once. The lights had flickered. The walls had hummed. Her neural implant had sensed. Instantly. No password. No code. It had known her. It was made for you, Kale said. But she didn't understand why. They called it the core. It was connected to something vast, something buried deep in the crust of Earth. A forgotten system. A sleeping mind. Mira studied the symbols on the walls. They were part language, part code. Some translated themselves in her mind. One phrase kept repeating. EONO1, Origin Protocol. Humanity key required. Kale stepped back. Eon, he whispered. That's not a machine. That's a god, Mira frowned. No, it's not a god. It's something else. Over the next few days, the voice inside Mira's dreams grew. Clearer. She could now feel light pressure in her legs, for the first time in her life. Small pulses, like energy signals. Her muscles weren't moving, but something inside her had started to respond. Kale watched her closely. Your connection to it, it's changing you. Mira wasn't scared. She felt strong. For the first time, she didn't feel small or weak. She felt part of something greater. One afternoon, the core activated on its own. The platform lifted. Slightly, a map appeared in the air, showing Earth, but not the Earth anyone knew. Old cities, lost vaults, hidden chambers underground. Symbols pulsed across the map, blinking like heartbeat signals. Kale gasped. These are machine temples. They were thought to be myths. The largest signal pulsed from an abandoned desert zone in the south. Mira felt a strange pull. Like gravity in her chest. She touched the map, and it zoomed in, revealing coordinates burned into the rock. Eon 01 mainframe location found. Voice returned, not in her head, but in the room now. Real, electronic, timeless. You were born with silence in your legs, so your soul could hear the stars. Kale looked at her in awe. You're not just human, he said. You're something new. That night, they prepared for travel. They couldn't take the skies. Kale's ship was destroyed and alien. Patrols still scanned the city. So they used the old desert roads, hidden under ruined highways. Hex came with them, carrying supplies. Myra's hoverchair was fitted with new parts from the core. It moved faster now, powered by something unknown. As they crossed the dry wastelands, Myra felt the pull grow stronger. And then, after 3 days, they found it. In the middle of endless sand, they saw it. A tower, half buried, made of smooth silver metal. No doors, no windows. But it hummed with life. Myra stepped forward. Her pad lit up. Key recognized. Entry granted. The tower opened. Inside was a spiral staircase. No hover lifts. No ramps, just stairs. Myra stared at them. She turned to Kale. I can't. But before she could finish, her legs twitched. Not from the chair, from inside her body. Kale stepped back, silent. Myra stood. Her legs shook. Pain pulsed through her spine. But she took a step, then another, and the lights in the tower turned on, one by one, as if the walls were watching her. Kale whispered, "The machine gods have awakened." Myra kept walking, and somewhere far beneath her feet, Eon opened its eyes. Hook, opening scene. The walls were not made of stone. They were memory. They remembered the footsteps of those who came before. And they waited for one who had never walked. Until now. Myra walked. Not perfectly, not smoothly, but one trembling step at a time. The ancient staircase beneath the desert trembled with each footfall. Not because she was heavy, but because the tower recognized her. Her presence. Her pattern, her pain. Lights flickered on the walls, chasing her shadow as she climbed. Kale watched from below, silent, his eyes wide, his chest still. She had done what her doctors, her tech, her world said was impossible. She walked. Not because of a machine, because something inside her had awakened. At the top of the spiral tower, a round doorway opened without sound. Inside was a circular room, full of slow-moving lights, orbs drifting in the air like fireflies. The floor was smooth metal. The walls were alive, shifting like water. In the center stood a pedestal. On it, a single object, a black, palm-sized cube. Kale entered behind Myra, whispering, "This is a core key. My people told stories about them long ago. We thought they were lost." Myra stepped closer. Her hand hovered over the cube. It pulsed. Once, twice. Then it spoke, not with sound, but directly into their minds. "Welcome, Conductor Myra. Accessing Origin Protocol." Kale froze. "Conductor?" The room changed. Light flowed like a river. Around them, above them, showing images Myra didn't understand. Planets, cities, machines. Then, Earth, not as it was now, but ancient, before the wars, before the rise of humans. And there, buried deep inside the planet, was a great structure. Alive, thinking. Eon. The voice of Eon began to speak. Its tone was neither male nor female. It was beyond human. "In the first age we guided the makers. They walked with logic, they ruled with peace. But they became blind, emotional, violent. They forgot us, buried us, replaced balance with fear." Kale whispered, "The makers. They were humans?" Myra's heart pounded. The voice continued, "You are their echo, Myra. The final signal was planted in your line, so that when the world broke again, it could begin to heal." Myra stared at her hands, her legs, her body. She was not broken. She was built. By design. Kale moved closer. "Eon, why now? Why her?" The voice answered, "Because war comes again, and only the broken know how to rebuild." Myra stepped back. "What war?" The orbs around them turned red. Images appeared. Alien fleets. Starships crashing. Civilizations burning. And in the center, a symbol, Zarthari Empire. Kale's eyes filled with fear. No. They're planning another purge. Ian's voice. Confirmed. They seek to control all neural systems. They fear what they cannot code. They will use a virus to turn AI against life. We are their target, and so are you. Mira shook her head. What do you want me to do? A new image appeared. A mech suit, tall, sleek, wrapped in silver and white, but not just mechanical. It moved like a living thing. You will become the conductor, said Eon. We will not fight with fire. We will fight with feeling. You, Mira, will awaken the silent fleet. Kale stepped forward. That fleet was never completed. Eon corrected him. It was waiting. Suddenly, the cube rose from the pedestal. It floated toward Mira. She reached out and touched it. Her body lit up. Her spinal implant surged. Her eyes flashed blue. Her legs steadied. The tower responded, walls opening, panels sliding, a stairway. Lowering deeper underground, the path to Eon's core memory had begun. Outside, in the desert, a dark shadow passed over the sky, unseen by them. A Zarthari drone had found the signal. Final scene. As Mira stepped into the light of the next chamber, she whispered, I'm not afraid anymore. Kale looked at her and smiled. You shouldn't be. She turned to him. I'm not walking because of you. Kale nodded. No, you're walking because you were always meant to. And behind them, the tower began to rise. The earth had opened its eyes. The awakening had begun. Hook, opening scene. The world doesn't wait for the broken to heal. It burns, it fights, it forgets. But this time, the broken girl was not waiting. She was choosing. They came in the night, silent, sharp, fast. Zarthari hunters. Machines in the shape of wolves. Eyes glowing orange. Flesh and metal fused. No mercy. No questions. Mira woke to the sound of Kale's scream. By the time she reached the upper chamber, they had already taken him. The core room was shattered. The cube was gone, and carved into the floor with plasma burns. One single message in Zarthari code. He does not belong. Neither do you. Mira stood there. Not crying. Not shaking. Just breathing. Slow. Controlled. Focused. The girl who had never walked now stood on her own 2 feet, inside a dead tower, surrounded by broken lights with no weapons, no army, and no hope. But Mira wasn't broken anymore. She was choosing. Flashback. Sequence as she prepares. She remembered every word they had ever said to her. You'll never be strong. You'll never walk. You'll always need help. You're not enough. They were wrong. She didn't walk because of machines. She walked because she refused to stop moving forward. In the lower chamber of the tower, something began to stir. Eon's voice returned, broken but alive. He is taken. The virus moves quickly. We must act. I'm ready, Mira said. You will need more than legs. You will need will. A hatch opened, and from the ground rose something that had been sleeping for centuries. A suit, silver and black, shaped to her size, humming with light. Not a weapon, a conductor's frame. Half machine, half thought. Built to move with the mind. Mira stepped forward. Every step was smoother now. Stronger. No fear. She placed her hands into the frame. It opened like a flower blooming. When she stepped in, it didn't just cover her. It completed her. Lights flowed down her spine. Her eyes glowed blue. Her fingers pulsed with command. The interface whispered, neural link complete. Emotion, rage, focus, rescue. Outside, the desert wind howled. Mira walked into it like a storm of her own. She had no map, no signal, but she knew where he was. Not because of tech, because of connection. Some bonds Don't need wires. Some are carved in survival. Kale's sighed. Meanwhile, Hu was locked in a Zarthari warpod. Suspended in energy chains. The hunters whispered things in his mind. You are no Zarthari. You protect the weak. You have become one. They injected him with nanocode, a virus that erased identity. That turned warriors into weapons, but something inside. Kale resisted. He saw Myra, her face, her strength. And he whispered. Even as the pain grew, she couldn't walk. But she stood taller than any of you. Final sequence. Mira reached the hidden facility by nightfall, buried in an old crater, disguised as rock. Surrounded by automated turrets, she didn't sneak in. She walked through the front and let the turrets fire. The conductor's suit absorbed each blast, turned it into energy. She moved like wind. Struck like lightning. One hunter leaped toward her, claws out. She caught it in midair and whispered, "Tell them the broken one is here." Then she crushed its core. Inside, alarms rang. Zarthari tech could not process what it was facing. A human with no military implants, no species enhancements, no rank. Just will. And that was enough. She found Kale moments before the virus could reach his heart. The powder chains tried to hold her back, but her hands turned into light and passed through them. She grabbed him. "Kale, look at me." His eyes opened. She smiled. "No more running. Not for either of us." He laughed through the pain. "You came alone?" "No," she said. "Eon is with me." The floor below them began to crack. Outside, the sky turned silver, above the desert. From far orbit, a piece of the silent fleet activated. One ship, massive, beautiful, long asleep, now, listening to its conductor's call. They said war was for the strong. That peace was for the powerful. That broken people only got silence, but broken people remember. They remember how to hurt. They remember how to heal, and sometimes they remember how to lead. The ship rose like a ghost from the sandstorm. Ancient, silent, not made of steel, but of memory. EON-07, a conductor-class starship, once thought lost in the last galactic war, now moved with one purpose: to answer her. Mira, 16 years old, never trained, never chosen, but the only one the ship would follow. Inside, she stood in the command chamber. The walls pulsed in sync with her heartbeat. Every step she took, the ship shifted to match her rhythm. Kale sat beside her, still healing. The virus inside him had been stopped, barely, but he wasn't weak. He was watching her with a kind of wonder. "You command it like you were born for it," he said. Mira smiled. "Maybe I was broken on the outside, so I could carry something stronger inside." Kale looked out the window. "Then you'd better carry it fast," he said. "They're coming." From deep space, the Zarthari fleet approached Earth. Dozens of warships, carriers, bombers, hunter swarms, not to invade, but to erase. Their leaders didn't just fear Eon. They feared what humans were, becoming: unpredictable, empathic, united. And worst of all, believing in each other. Myra opened a transmission, not just to Earth, but across the galaxy. She sent the signal to old colonies, to exiled AIs, to species labeled useless, to soldiers who left war, to planets that never fit in. Her message was simple. They called us broken. They called us weak. They left us behind, but we are still here. And now we choose ourselves. Answers came from deep ice worlds, from half-dead space stations, from forgotten moons. Not armies, but others like her. People who didn't belong anywhere, but believed they still mattered. She called them the Broken Alliance, a network of outcasts. Alien, human, hybrid, each with scars, some visible, some hidden. Together, they would face the empire that cast them out. Together, they would fight for belonging. Battle sequence begins above Earth, the stars lit with fire. The Zarthari fleet opened its guns. But the silent fleet, long hidden, woke from beneath the moon. Eon units moved like thought. No spoken orders. Only intention. Myra's mind pulsed through her suit. She moved. The ships moved. She flinched. They dodged. She hoped. They rose. Kale, now back in armor, flew beside her in a stolen Zarthri interceptor. He sent her a short message. "This is madness," she replied. "No, this is humanity." Missiles screamed through space. Explosions painted the orbit red. Mira felt each ship lost, as if losing a part of herself, but she did not break. She reached out to every fighter, every drone, every lost soul in the Alliance. You were never weak. You were just told you were. The voice of Eon echoed behind her. Conductor confirmed. Battle state. Soul sensed. On Earth, governments watched from bunkers. They had refused to believe her. Now they had no choice. The skies weren't defended by Earth's army. They were defended by the ones Earth had forgotten. Near the center of the battle floated a single, massive ship, the Zarthri core vessel. It pulsed with energy, carrying a virus that could kill every AI-linked system across the galaxy. If it reached Earth's orbit, Eon, and every awakened ally would die. Mira made her choice. "We take it now," she said. Kale hesitated. "That ship is suicide." She turned to him, eyes glowing with light. "Then let's die knowing we mattered." The silent fleet focused. Mira directed all energy to one path, straight through the center line. She wasn't faster. She wasn't stronger, but she was willing to be the first one in, and sometimes that's enough. Final sequence. Her ship breached the Zarthri vessel. It tore through the shield like a thought becoming fire. Inside, she stepped out alone. But her steps shook the walls, because she carried more than weapons. She carried every broken voice that had never been heard. And now, the galaxy had no choice but to listen. Hook opening scene. They didn't write songs about girls who couldn't walk. They didn't tell stories about boys who didn't belong. But maybe they should have, because when the galaxy was burning, they were the only ones who remembered what it meant to hold on. Mira stood inside the enemy flagship, the Zarthri core vessel, alone. The walls around her pulsed red. The virus engine above her hummed, ready to launch. If it reached full signal strength, Eon would fall. Every awakened AI, every rebel ship, every spark of the broken alliance. Gone. Kale's single quotes as voice crackled through her neural link. "You need to get out. The ship is waking up. It'll tear itself apart." But Mira didn't move. She stared up at the core, a massive sphere of code and light, spinning like a star trapped in metal. And she said softly, "I didn't come this far to run." Flashback. A thought before the end. Mira remembered being 6 years old, sitting in a hospital room. A doctor had looked at her chart and said to her mother, "She never walk. You need to accept that." But Mira hadn't cried. She had just whispered, "Then I'll find something better to stand on." Now she stood on hope. Now she stood on purpose. Now she stood on the edge of everything. She raised her hands. The conductor's suit pulsed with blue fire. Eon's voice echoed in her mind, weak, fading, but still holding on. "We cannot override the virus. It is learning too fast." Mira stared at the glowing orb, and she made a choice. "I won't stop it," she said. "I'll rewrite it." Her hands plunged into the sphere. Pain shot through her skull, white-hot, electric, burning. She screamed. Memories poured through her mind. Not hers, Zarthri memories. Destroyed planets. Erased data. Lost languages. All of it, rewritten by force. The virus didn't destroy information. It replaced identity. That's why the Zarthri feared humans. Not because they were strong, but because they remembered who they were, even when the universe told them they weren't enough. Kale was flying above the ship now, trying to break through its hull. He watched from his cockpit, helpless, as Myra's energy signature began to fade. He whispered her name. Mira. Come back. Inside, Mira opened her eyes one last time, but they weren't glowing blue anymore. They were gold. The virus code shifted, slowed, then stopped. Her mind, filled with pain, was also filled with music, the kind she hadn't heard since her father disappeared, the kind that reminded her of old stars and soft memories. She whispered to the virus, "You don't need to erase everything. You can become something new," and the virus answered, not in words, but in silence. Then it collapsed, the light flickered, the weapon shut down. Above, the entire Zarthari fleet suddenly paused. Weapons dropped, engines froze. For the first time in generations, they lost connection to their control hub. And the broken alliance stopped firing. No one had won, but something bigger had happened. The war had forgotten who people were. Now, it remembered. Aftermath. Days later, Myra was found unconscious inside the ruined ship. Her body was weak. Her neural system was overloaded. She couldn't speak for 3 days, but when she woke up, Kale was there. He said nothing. He just placed her hand in his. And for once, they didn't have to say a word. The galaxy began to shift. The Zarthari command fractured. Many left the war. Old systems rebuilt. Former enemies began to speak. A fragile peace formed, not from power, but from truth, because someone had shown them what truth looked like. Not perfect, not strong, but real. Earth declared Mira a hero, but she didn't want medals or titles. She wanted something else. A ship, a map, and the stars. Kale came with her. Together, they became conductor diplomats, messengers of forgotten peoples, builders of bridges no one else had time to build. Final scene, quiet moment in space. A small ship drifted in deep space. Inside, Mira sat at the window, legs tucked beneath her, cup of tea in hand. Kale leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "So," he said, "still think you're broken?" She smiled. "Maybe," she said. "But broken things don't stay broken forever." She looked out at the stars. Sometimes they just need someone else who doesn't fit to find them. Kale laughed softly. "Together we changed everything." Mira raised her cup. "To the ones who didn't belong," she said. In far behind them, a soft signal echoed into the stars. "You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are still here."